For life to have an ongoing process, there must be the process of creating new life. This process is called reproduction. Human beings reproduce in much as the same way as other animals. There is need for both male and female to be involved in the human reproductive system. Each of us begins our individual life as a fertilized egg or zygote. Via the reproductive organs, the female reproduces the egg cell, or also called an ovum or gamete, and the male produces the fertilizing seed cell, also called a spermatozoon or sporophyte. When they fuse into one cell, the zygote, all of the necessary needs and information required for the growth of a mature man or woman are present, and with the proper nutrition and care, we are the result. The organs of the male reproductive system includes the penis, scrotum, testis, duct system, and the glands. The female reproductive system, on the other hand, includes the vulva or the external genitalia, the vagina, the cervix, the uterus, the ovaries, and the fallopian reproductive system is more complex, both structurally and functionally. It consists of a pair of ovaries attached with ligaments to the uterus. The ovary produces female gametes or ova. It in close relation to the ovary, oviduct is present. It is a funnel-shaped structure, usually with fimbricated margin. The end serves to pick up the ova liberated from the ovary. The proximal end of the oviduct enters into the uterus. The uterus is a muscular bag. The wall of the uterus has 3 layers of tissues. The thin membranous perimetrium, middle thick layer of smooth muscle myometrium, and inner glandular layer called endometrium that lines the uterine cavity. The endometrium undergoes cyclical changes during menstrual cycle, while myometrium exhibits strong contraction during the delivery of the baby. Under proper hormonal stimulation, uterine endometrial wall gets modified for the implantation of the fertilized ovum, and also forms placenta and fetal membrane during the intrauterine development of an embryo. Uterus opens into a long tube. The vagina, the opening being guarded by a cervix of the uterus, a sphincter that prevents the entry of harmful bacteria and other substances inside it. Vagina serves to receive sperms after copulation. The accessory glands associated with the female reproductive tract are Bartholin's glands opening by ducts at the external genital opening. Associated with the female reproductive system are the mammary glands, their function being the nourishment of the young ones during the prenatal life. The mammary glands are paired structures or breasts that contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes, containing clusters of cells called alveoli. The alveoli open into a mammary tubules. The tubules of each lobe join to form a mammary duct. Ducts join to form a wider mammary ampulla, which is connected to a lactiferous duct through which milk is sucked out. The female external genitalia include mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. The opening vagina is partially covered by membrane called hymen. The clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure above the urethral opening. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region. It includes a pair of testes, along with accessory duct glands and the external genitalia. It consists of a pair of testes lodged in an integumentary pouch, the scrotum. Initially, they are abdominal. However, as the development proceeds, they descend down into the scrotum. It has been proved that this adaptation enables regulation of internal temperature of the testes higher than body temperature, which is essential for their normal functioning. In adults, each test is oval in shape with a length of about 4 to 5 centimeters and a width about 2 to 3 centimeters. The testis is covered by a dense covering. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled somniferous tubules in which sperms are produced. Many such somniferous tubules after exit again from a complex network of tubular system known as retitestis. Small ducts from the retitestis again unite to form a large convoluted duct called as epididymis, in which sperms are stored. Epididymis continues into the vas deferens, which carries sperms away from the testis. Vas deferens, after curving back over lower abdominal area, enlarge to form ampulla, in which opens a coiled tube with sacculated walls. This is the seminal vesicle. It is supposed to perform nutritive function by providing fructose and other nutrients to maintain vitality of sperms. By the union of the seminal vesicular ducts and vas deferens, a short canal is formed. It is called as the ejaculatory duct, which further unites with the ureter to form a common passage to the urethra, which opens to outside of the body through the penis. Seminiferous tubule is lined on its inside by two types of cells called male germ cells undergo meiotic division, finally leading to sperm formation. Sertoli cells provide nutrition to the germ cells. Outside of the seminiferous tubules, called interstitial spaces, contain small blood vessels and interstitial cells or Leydig cells. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormones called androgens. Other immunologically competent cells are also present. Two glands, the prostate and the bulbourethral or Cooper's gland, open into the urethra. They produce mucus that lubricates the urethra to facilitate the ejaculation of sperms during copulation. Secretions of these glands constitute the seminal plasma, which is rich in fructose, calcium, and certain enzymes. External genital organ in male is penis, through which urethra runs. It is an erectile organ. During sexual intercourse, about 400 milliliters of semen, containing as many as 400 million sperm cells, are deposited in the female's vagina. Most of these sperms will die within 48 hours. If fertilization takes place, the sperm usually meets the ovum in the fallopian tube, requiring the sperm cells to swim from the upper vagina through the cervix across the length of the uterus before reaching the fallopian tube, in considerable distance to the size of the sperm cell. Once the ovum fuses with a single sperm cell, its cell membrane changes, preventing fusion with other sperms. This process ultimately leads to the formation of a cell called the zygote, the union of an ova and a sperm. Each cell in our body contains 46 chromosomes except for the female egg cell and the male sperm cell. These cells, called sex cells or gametes, each contain 23 chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of smaller units called genes. Genes carry the coded information for every person's heredity in molecules called DNA. This genetic code is a blueprint for building a new person with characteristics from the father and the mother. Genes determine what color eyes a person will have, what color of hair, how tall, how big their feet will be, even personality traits and predispositions to disease. Two chromosomes, the X and the Y chromosomes, determine the sex of the person. Ovum possess only X chromosomes, while sperm have either an X or Y chromosome. An X from the female gamete and X from the male gamete produce a male offspring. Likewise, an X from the female gamete and Y from the male gamete will produce a male offspring. During fertilization, the two sets of chromosomes combine. Within hours of fertilization, the zygote begins to develop and travels along the fallopian tube, reaching the uterus in approximately 3 days. When the zygote reaches the uterus and implants in the endometrium, the female is said to be pregnant. For the first 8 weeks, the developing organism is called an embryo. During this period, cells differentiate into specific body parts and organs. A temporary organ implanted in the uterine wall and present only during pregnancy called the placenta provides the fetus with oxygen and nutrients and takes away waste such as carbon dioxide via the umbilical cord. Beginning at week 9, the embryo is called the fetus, but in week 20, halfway through the pregnancy, the fetus is about 20 centimeters in length.
Multiple birth. A multiple birth occurs when more than one fetus is carried to term in a single pregnancy. Different names for multiple births are used depending on the number of offspring. Common multiples are 2 and 3, known as twins and triplets. Multiple birth siblings are either monozygotic or polyzygotic. Monozygotic are multiple fetuses produced by the splitting of a single zygote. Dizygotic are multiple fetuses produced by two zygotes. Polyzygotic are multiple fetuses produced by 2 or more zygotes. Multiple births can happen when multiple eggs are released or there is more than one ovulation. One egg is released but splits once or more. It can happen spontaneously. A birth defect is a problem that happens while a baby is developing in the mother's body. Most birth defects happen during the first 3 months of pregnancy. 1 out of every 33 babies in the United States is born with a birth defect. Birth defects are structural or functional abnormalities present at birth that cause physical or mental disability, and some may be fatal. Currently, birth defects are the leading cause of death for infants during the first year of life. Congenital heart defects. It occurs in about 1 in 110 births. It have a variety of causes, including genetic abnormalities or a mistake during fetal development. Most heart defects can be corrected or at least improved through surgery, drugs, or a mechanical aid like a pacemaker. Clubfoot occurs approximately 1 in 400 newborns, affecting boys about twice as often as girls. It includes several kinds of ankle and foot deformities. It is a combination of heredity and environmental factors that affect fetal growth. The baby needs drastic treatment such as plaster casts, bandaging with splints followed by time in special shoes, or surgery followed by exercises. Cleft palate. It is when either the hard palate, the soft palate, or the upper lip split early in fetal development. Surgical repair for a cleft lip should be done by about 3 months of age. Repair of a cleft palate almost always leaves the child with only minimal scarring and a face that looks like that of most other children. Down syndrome. It is one of the most common abnormalities. It can be diagnosed before birth. This defect is not curable, but early intervention allows a child to develop to his full potential.
Hi, Isaiah. I love you.
The Suleiman octuplets have made medical history. 8 tiny babies in intensive care. The fact that they all survived is a tribute to the skill of the medical team that delivered them. The very fact that they exist, however, is the subject of fierce controversy, in large part because these 8 babies have 6 older siblings.
I know now that they may or may not have really deep down wanted that many siblings. But I at the time, I was so focused, so fixated on wanting so many that I just kept going.
Perhaps maybe not paying as much attention to whether they wanted a big family.
They were so little. That's the thing. If they were older and they said, "No, Mom, we really don't want you to have any more children," that's it. I wouldn't have had any more.
Meet the 6 children whose lives are about to change dramatically.
Hi, Mommy. Hi.
Elijah's a ball of fire, a 7-year-old man of action and few words.
I'm gonna go do my homework.
Amira is a self-contained 6-year-old, clearly a bit concerned about the 8 siblings headed her way.
Do you think it'll be fun to have a lot of brothers and sisters like that?
No.
Why not?
Because there's gonna be a lot of crying.
Do you think your mom's going to be okay with all those kids?
She's gonna be stressed out all the time. Hello?
Joshua Jacob, JJ for short, is an outgoing charmer at age 5.
What do you think it's going to be like having so many brothers and sisters?
It's gonna be like. Look at the gavel straight. It's gonna be like fun because I can play, but the house is gonna be squishy. And there's gonna be a lot of cribs and a lot of babies. Is that Elijah?
Caleb and Calissa, the 2-year-old twins, don't talk much, but they do communicate.
Oh, big Aiden, yeah! Aiden's right here.
And then there's Aiden, age 3, and autistic.
He's over here.
One of your 6 children has special needs.
Yes, he's autistic.
Okay.
I am very attached to him, and he's very, very attached to me. I don't want to get emotional. It's probably the most rewarding experience I've ever had.
I love you.
We were there when Nadia was reunited with Aiden after being away for a few days.
Oh, Aiden, I miss you so much.
In addition to Aiden, Nadia says 2 other children are also disabled.
One of my children was tested as ADHD, which is extremely prevalent. In regard to my other child, that child was experiencing more or less a speech delay and maybe tiny characteristics of autism as well.
She's receiving disability payments for all 3.
It is temporary. Only one will be on it for a while. The others hopefully will be off of it within a few months.
There is a good chance that in these 8 new babies there will be developmental problems. Possible cerebral palsy.
Possible.
That is a
Unlikely.
risk of
It's a
multiple
possible.
births.
Sure.
It takes time for that to reveal itself.
Absolutely. As they grow, yes.
Are you prepared for this?
I don't believe that any kind of disability, which is an added challenge, that's all it is. These children are added blessings. Their challenge is an added blessing.
But how many blessings can one household take? Here are some snapshots taken inside the house Nadia rents from her mom. It's not very big. It's hard to keep clean with 6 young children running around, and you can imagine how squishy it might get when 8 babies arrive. Today, she told us she's hoping to move to a larger home.
So you're going to be by yourself in this house.
That's what I want. I will have in and out help, volunteers and friends.
You're going to need a lot of help.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of not only hands, but you're going to need
Yeah,
a lot of money. You're going to need diapers.
Yeah.
You're going to need formula.
That's resources that have been offered already.
Her parents do what they can to help, but they are of modest means. Nadia's mother has called her daughter's decision to have more children unconscionable. And what about the biological father of all these children? Remember, Nadia made sure at the outset that he would have no say in things.
Some people feel that it is a problem if you are a single mother because there isn't a father, and children need a father.
I absolutely believe that. And they do have a father who is not present in their life, but who someday will be present in their life.
Does the father of these 14 children, the same father
Yes.
for all 14?
Yes.
Does he have a reaction?
He was shocked. He didn't know what to say. He needs time. So in the future, someday maybe, he would be open-minded to knowing them. And if he's not, they have a grandpa.
Right now, the octuplets sleep a lot, blissfully unaware of the concerns about their future. There are so many of them, it's hard for even their mother to keep their name straight sometimes. At least their middle names are easy. They're all the same.
They're angels, and their middle name is all Angel because they're angels.
So your dream of having a big family has come true.
I never in my wildest dreams imagined it being this big.
People sometimes say, be careful what you wish for.
That's true. That is true. I know.
Are you done having children?
100%, 200, 300, 400%. Yes, I'm done. This happened for a reason. This is actually a message, I believe, from God saying, you are done. It's more than doubled the family size. So now I have to really, really realize that this has to, it's done. It's done.
He is a healthy baby, with a major exception. He was born with one of the most unusual birth defects that doctors in Charlotte have seen, and the treatment recommendation is pretty radical. News Channel 36 reporter Michelle Bowden has the story of this 6-month-old and his family's journey.
Yeah, that's my little man.
It's the first thing you see. This baby is pure joy.
Oh, he's the most precious, prettiest thing. He's a happy baby. A fat baby, but a happy baby.
But there's something else you'll see.
The only thing different about him than other babies is his feet.
6-month-old Jace was born with a birth defect.
His short bone kept growing.
Initially, doctors thought it was club feet, but within just the last few weeks, they've changed the diagnosis to tibial dysplasia. The bones in his legs didn't form properly. He has no ankles, his feet turn in, and he has just 2 toes on each foot.
This is the worst they've ever seen. He is the worst case. They've never seen the case like his.
It was a hard thing for me to accept, because when I had got the first doctor had told me, I mean, like, that was too much on me. I had to leave the doctor. I left crying so bad.
3 hospitals, 3 doctors, all with the same treatment suggestion.
They want to amputate my baby's feet.
The family wonders if this is the only option.
And it's hard to look at him like this and know that he's a happy child, and this is all you can offer the family is amputation.
Like, there's no way I'm going to let them cut my baby's feet off. And I'm like, if I'm looking at him, you couldn't tell. I'm like, so how do you accept somebody telling you they want to cut your baby's feet off? And I'm like, well, how's his life going to be without his feet? You know what I'm saying? But as they talked about the prosthetics, I was like, okay, maybe he has a chance.
So after 6 months of searching for answers, she's decided to go ahead with the surgery. She's hopeful she's truly doing what's best for her baby.
If that's what I have to do, I'll do it.
In Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, News Channel 36.
Wow. That surgery is scheduled for November. We will be sure to let you know how things go.
And we'll certainly be keeping Jason and his family in our thoughts here. Boy, what amazing what they've gone through, but amazingly resilient little boy, you can tell. Very happy.
Very cute.
Yeah.